The housing market is crazy right now because of low inventory and high mortgage rates. So what are people to do? Wait years and years for interest rates to drop and hope that more homes hit the market? Well, people don't want to do that. In fact, many people are choosing to downsize right now just so they can afford to get into a home. And what are they turning to? Tiny homes and mobile homes. In today's video, I'll break down the pros and cons between the two options. I'll show you how some of my clients recently had to pick between these two options and what their ultimate design ended up being. If you're new to my channel, I am Trish Debenham and this is Trish Talks. I've been a full-time interior designer for the last 25 years, working in both residential and commercial design. And on this channel, I cover all things related to interior design using real-world examples. Now, about a year ago, I was standing in front of a home that my team and I had just renovated. I was standing there and I was having a quiet moment of reflection. I was filled with gratitude for that opportunity. I was just so thankful. And as I was about to turn away, a couple pulled up in the driveway. And they mentioned that they had been driving by the house for weeks now and that they had loved how it turned out. So they asked if my company and I could actually come out to their home to take a look at some of the things that they wanted to have done. And I don't know if I've mentioned this, but along with being an interior designer, I'm also a licensed general contractor. So they were actually inviting us out to do both the design and the construction work. So a few days later, I met with them. They explained that they had recently sold their large family home and were looking to downsize to something suitable for them and their dogs. They were thinking about building a tiny home and wanted to hire our team. So we walked around the 3-acre property, and as we walked around the old garage in the rear of the property, there stood an old mobile trailer. It looked like one of those mobile trailers that you find on a construction site that's, kind of plain. But after inspecting it, it was in pretty rough shape, but it was salvageable. And so I asked him, I know you want to build a tiny home, but had you considered renovating the trailer? And they hadn't thought about it, but they said they would consider it with my help. So I identified 4 things they should consider, and so should you. Consideration number 1, size. The biggest difference between the tiny home and the mobile home comes down to size. Tiny homes are super compact, usually ranging from 100 to 400 square feet, while the mobile homes are often more spacious, ranging from 600 to 1,300 square feet. In my client's case, they just sold off their 2,500 square foot house and they had all the bells and whistles, and now they simply wanted to simplify. They wanted to reduce their maintenance and utility costs and get on with retirement and living life. Consideration number 2, cost. The average cost to build a tiny home ranges from $30,000 to $60,000, or $300 per square foot, while a new single-wide mobile home ranges from $88,000 to $128,000, which is about $90 per square foot. So the tiny home does cost more per square foot, but they're smaller, so there is less to build, so ultimately they cost less. Now, the land that you plan to put either of these homes on will certainly affect the overall cost. Which takes me to the next consideration. Consideration number 3, location. In many states, tiny homes can be considered ADUs, or accessory dwelling units. If your zone allows for ADUs, you can place a tiny home in the backyard of a larger primary residence. Now, once an ADU or a tiny home is added to the backyard, the property actually goes up in value significantly. So People like to add the tiny homes to the backyard, but most people actually just get a lot and put the tiny home on the lot, whether they purchase the lot or they rent the lot. Since tiny homes can be built on wheels, they can actually start in one place and then land in their final destination. Now for mobile homes, unfortunately, you can't stick a mobile home in a backyard. They must occupy a plot of land or rent a plot in a mobile park. Once you position those on the lot, they typically remain in that space for a long time. Now for my clients, the tiny home would have been new construction. So creating a design and seeking permits from the county for new construction would have added a significant amount of time. Whereas the mobile home was already on the property. So now to renovate the mobile home, yes, we would have had to pull permits, but not new construction permits. So that would be less time than building the tiny home. So that leads me to consideration number 4, design and customization. Now, you know I had to add this one. The beauty of tiny homes are that they are highly customizable. They're typically constructed like a traditional stick-built home, but on wheels. So the design can be minimal or over the top. You can choose from your favorite architectural design and make it any style you want. You can go crazy with the roof line, the colors, the accessories. You can customize it to the way you want. Now the mobile home has less customization options. They are typically rectangular in shape with variations in the roof line. Now, if you're planning to do some interior renovations in the mobile home, then that's where your flexibility comes in. However, you'll need to consider things like buying windows and doors and plumbing fixtures designed specifically for the mobile home. So as I'm showing you the differences between the tiny home and the mobile home, there is one thing I need to add about the mobile home. And this isn't easy to say, but there is a stigma attached to living in a mobile home. And I'm not saying that this is right, nor do I condone it, but it's there. Some people don't consider mobile homes real homes, which is absurd because there are real people raising families in these homes. So for them, it's a home. So then what's the argument here? Well, mobile homes do tend to lose value as they get older, whereas traditional stick-built homes gain value over time. And due to the mobile home's construction, when severe weather hits, they tend to see a lot more damage than the traditional home. But again, the positive side to mobile homes is their size and the features that they offer. And they tend to be much more affordable than the traditional home. So I just wanted to put that out there as you consider your options. So now, which option do you think my clients went with? But before I reveal that to you, if you've gotten anything out of this video, do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment in the section below. So my clients chose to renovate the mobile home. Did you guess that? Although the cost to renovate the mobile home would have been roughly the same as building a tiny home, they did like the idea of a little bit more space, and they also wanted to be in their home sooner rather than later. So after they made their choice, the next step was to create a design. Let's start with the outside. Now remember, this wasn't a typical mobile home. It's one of those construction site mobile homes, so it was very basic. Since my clients loved the color green, I went with that color on the exterior. We added some contrasting elements like the decking and the angled canopy above the door. And all of these exterior renovations needed to be kept simple to keep the cost down. With that said, I added some additional outdoor seating and then we went indoors. Oh, but let me mention that they did want to replace all of the windows and all of the doors around the trailer. So now let's go indoors. The original layout didn't have a kitchen, so I added that first. I removed the closet and took away space from the other side of the wall. Since it's nice to have a window over the sink, I added a window in that area. I wanted this small kitchen to feel larger, so I also used off-the-shelf white cabinets with white quartz countertops with stainless steel appliances. Fortunately for us, there were these rich cherry hardwood floors throughout the trailer, so that's where the contrasting color and interest came in. Just beside the kitchen, I added a small dining table and chairs, and I created a living room area complete with a big screen TV. Next up, we redesigned the bathroom. The original bathroom only had a toilet and a sink, so I added the shower tub combo. I changed out the existing fixtures, and I kept the fixtures light so that the small space could feel larger. Lastly, the back room, which was once an office, I turned into a bedroom. Since you can't have a bedroom without a closet, we eliminated the rear door of the trailer and added this long closet. A bed, 2 nightstands, and a large area rug made this space feel warm, welcoming, and cozy. So now, what would you have chosen? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, peace.